Ah, we really doing this? I think if you become a journalist or you become some sort of media analyst or pundit or color commentator or whatever, with that role should come educating the public. Because right now, there are high tensions. A lot of crazy shit is going on right now. And obviously, people are going to react emotionally, not understanding the consequences of what they're actually advocating for. I say this because a lot of it ties into this article from Reuters. Exclusive. Americans broadly support Ukraine no-fly zone, Russia oil ban. Now, so far, the oil ban is actually, it passed. Biden has banned the import of Russian oil. We are no longer buying oil from Russia. It kind of makes you wonder, is the no-fly zone next? So let's read a little more. A broad bipartisan majority of Americans think the United States should stop buying Russian oil and gas and work with NATO to set up no-fly zones to protect Ukraine from Russian airstrikes, according to a Reuters Ipsos poll completed on Friday. Some 74% of Americans, including solid majorities of Republicans and Democrats, say the United States and its allies should, in the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, should impose a no-fly zone in Ukraine, the poll found. Look, what Russia is doing right now to Ukraine is unthinkable, unfathomable. There's no excuse for it whatsoever. And there are a lot of people online that are telling you that, or would be happy to tell you, that this is all justified. The shelling of civilians, the murdering and slaughtering and bombing of thousands of people, the forced evacuation, the millions of people fleeing right now, that's all completely fine because U.S. bad, NATO bad, the West bad. Russian imperialism? Good. Images of decimated cities, bombs dropping literally as people are just walking, just strolling by on camera, and all of a sudden, boom. Obviously, that's going to pull on like anybody's heartstrings, unless you're a sociopath. The same kind of sociopaths that will downplay Russian imperialism, Putin's fascistic ambitions and actions, pathologically, compulsively contrarian-minded people who only operate on the notion that U.S. empire bad, destroy at all costs. These people's brains are broken. Clearly, there is literally no excuse for what is occurring right now in Ukraine. Literally at the whim of Vladimir Putin. And so I think it's the right thing for NATO, for the West, for Biden to not get involved. It's easy to look at these images, to hear these stories, and react emotionally. Why doesn't NATO do something? Why doesn't the United Nations do something? Why doesn't the United States do something? Well, here's why. Russia has nukes. A no-fly zone over Ukraine would certainly require the involvement of NATO. In order to enforce a no-fly zone would guarantee involvement by NATO. A no-fly zone would almost guarantee that NATO and Russia would directly engage in a hot conflict with one another. They would exchange fire. Because if a NATO anti-air or a NATO jet shoots down another Russian jet, it's off to the fucking races. It's World War III. It could spiral out of control very quickly. And who's going to stop it? Again, a lot of people that are affected by what they see. Maybe you're watching this right now. You think, okay, well, we gotta stand up to Putin. He's obviously a bully. Yeah, but in a bully situation, it would be like big bad bully on the block and 20, 30 or so friends, yours, wanting to gang up on him and, stand up to him because he's beating the shit out of your buddy Ukraine over there. But the thing is, he's telling you that if you interfere, he's going to kill everybody. And by that I mean he's wearing a nuclear device on his chest. You mess with him, and he just might set that thing off. It's called a deterrence. No one knows for sure just how crazy Putin really is, just how serious he is. And so the best method forward is to just squeeze him dry, cut him off from everything he's using against Ukraine, everything that's fueling his ambitions, propping up his war machine. I don't know what else to compare it to, like, honestly. Because the thing is, this isn't exactly a standing up to a bully scenario. This is a world superpower who is daring the world to make a move against him. And sure, there's there's plenty out there that suggests that the war is not going in Putin's favor. Because when this invasion started, we thought that, the Russian military might would have no issue taking over Ukraine, but luckily that's not the case. So the best we can do, like Zelensky asked, is provide ammo, provide intelligence. The reason a no-fly zone in Ukraine would be worse than actually declaring war is because it could happen by accident. A declaration of war, NATO would win, like, without a question. Plus, we have the jump on Russia. If it was to happen by accident, say a no-fly zone and a Russian jet gets shot down, it plays right into Russia's hands. They have the upper hand, like, easy. A lot of people really need to understand this. And I hate to bring it up, but I like to think one of the reasons Hillary lost is because if elected, she said that she would put up a no-fly zone in Syria. Back during that time, Russia was heavily involved in Syria. And they did terrible things, just like the U.S. did. Just look up what the Wagner group did in Aleppo. You worried about Nazis? Look that shit up. So this isn't exactly the video I really wanted to make, but the video I kind of like needed to make because way too many people are okay with this when they shouldn't be. A call for a no-fly zone is a call for direct engagement with Russia, a nuclear power. Whoever's calling for a no-fly zone, just say you want World War III. There are other options. There are other ways to go about this. Just like in Syria, it almost guarantees a direct conflict with Russia. And neither Russia nor the West actually wants that. It's messed up, but Putin's just got to burn himself out. He needs to feel the walls collapsing around him, metaphorically at least, financially. Hats off to all the brave Russians protesting. All of them risk getting detained, arrested, disappeared, maybe even tortured. I mean, there are reports that people, like Russian citizens, are getting stopped on the street by Russian authorities to have their phone messages read. And denial gets them detained. Russia's basically an open-air prison right now. You can't leave. The economy is collapsing. The ruble's worth less than a penny. Less than a U.S. penny. And now in Russia, you're not even allowed to have over a certain amount of foreign currency in your bank. It's just sadistic. The whole situation is sadistic. It's been incredibly depressing. There's been so much happening in Ukraine, in Russia, that I've been wanting to cover, like, extensively throughout the last couple weeks. So much. And of course, the response from idiots. Fake leftists, fake anti-imperialists who only simp for Russia because U.S. empire bad. Just mindless. People who don't understand Putin. People who don't care about human rights if it was the last thing on earth to care about. That's about it. I'm basically ranting at this point. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you're all hanging in there. Share this with someone who thinks a no-fly zone is a good idea, because it's not.